guys have been through some growing pains, right? Like you guys have been able to build that from really one and a half, couple days a week to two locations. And you said 4 full-time doctors.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah, it's some growing pains because sometimes you're hiring those people before you fully need them.
And so then
right. So you're also taking some risk. You're saying, hey, we're going to start paying this doctor a salary and maybe we only need them 3 days a week, but we want to get to the point where we need them 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And so we're going to hire them like we're hiring them for 5 days a week.
Got you. So I'm curious, when you did the life coach thing, because we kind of joked about like it's the actual work experience and life experience that you feel like you've gotten more value from, which
Sure.
I mean, I would totally agree with that with myself too. But the life coach thing, did it kind of give you the permission to be able to go into this space though, like mentally for yourself? Does that make sense?
Tell me specifically what space you're referring to.
I just mean like into
into
the coaching space. So it's like people that grow businesses have been through that, have some experience, have some knowledge. But I'm wondering if you going and getting certified, did that kind of give you the permission for yourself that, okay, now I can actually go executive coach people? Does that make sense?
I think that in the beginning, when I first started, I remember because I'd hired my own life coach first, and she had helped me in amazing ways. She'd helped me look at myself in different ways and be able to give myself a lot of space for love for myself, but also to actually find some results. And that was really around the area of weight loss at the time. But I think I believed that I needed the certification in order to actually coach people, or that maybe people would be like, you're not legit until you have that certification. But as I had actually signed up for the course, I was in the process of helping coach some people already. I was practicing. And as I started practicing, I started realizing, I mean, the certification will be nice and I'm going to make the most out of the schooling, but it's not going to be the reason I sign clients.
Right.
Because the only thing clients really care about is, number one, do they have a need? And number two, can I help them in that need? Like if they want to, for example, for me, if someone wants to follow their dreams and they just have really struggled, or they felt a lot of anxiety in trying to follow that, and they believe I can help them overcome that, well, then for them, it's a no-brainer. They're like, yeah, I'll hire you.
Yeah.
Because I need that help. I recognize that I've held myself back a lot because of the anxiety or the fear or whatever it is, or the uncomfortable, and I think this is the most important one. Am I being righteous or not when I'm following this dream? Because I'm experiencing this uncomfortable, and I thought I was supposed to feel the spirit when I'm following my dreams.
Got you. Well, so let's kind of dive into this workshop that you're kind of putting together. And then I want to talk about, because I think it's ironic that you're executive coach, you're in HR in your company, you're all the relationships that you put around, or all the relationships you're around, and coaching all those people. And a lot of it, correct me if I'm wrong, but in my mind, like a lot of coaching is almost teaching people how to be self-aware is part of it. Maybe not most of it, but part of it. And then you came across that yourself and had to become self-aware of where, not even that you were doing it the wrong way, but there might be I don't think you're doing it the wrong way, but there is a better way to build a base and then launch this workshop, if that's a correct way to say it.
Yeah. No, completely the right way of saying it.
So tell me,
and it's not like I haven't ever had things like this come up before.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was so interesting, right? Because I had really clarified for myself, hey, I really want to be helping people who are following their dreams. Let me start thinking about this podcast that I want to do that's called The Uncomfortable Dream Podcast, right? Like, so I recognized that there was an uncomfortable feel to it, right? So I decided a couple weeks earlier, as I was interviewing some top level business owners, I was interviewing a gentleman, Kyle Christensen is his name, and he's written a really cool book that's called, like, I want to say it's principle based investing. Anyways, as I was talking to him, he was talking about 401ks and Roth IRAs, and he's a financial planner. As I was talking to him about it, he said, majority of people that I talk to, like 90% of the people that come and get financial advice from me, whenever I ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, how well they understand their 401ks and Roth IRAs, they always say a 1. And he's like, this is a problem. He's like, essentially what they are doing is gambling with their money. And I was like, wait, what? Like, what is he saying? Because as he was saying, I was like, I feel the truth of what he's saying here, but let me listen to him a little bit more. And he started talking about the term and the definition of investment. And the definition of an investment is something that you are putting your money behind, that you're working in to help grow. And I was just like, whoa. I mean, I'm pretty lucky that I was smart enough to say, let's buy into this optometry practice, right? Because that was essentially my investment, and it is into something that I am helping grow.
Right.
But I said to him, I was like, you know what? I have no clue what my Roth IRA is doing.
Yeah.
So it was a good wake-up call. But turning that back to the workshop, I was so lit up by what he was talking about that I was like, hey, I know I need a partner with you on this. And I know we need to get this word out more. And so that's when I started putting the workshop together. And the workshop was going to be me and him talking about investing and how you invest in yourself, your own ideas, your own place, your own building, your own business, right? Or whatever it is, something that you're involved in and that you're helping grow, which I think makes a lot of sense. I remember my dad even saying one time, like, put your money where you're working, right? Because that's where you have the most control. Like, you can control how much you work and how much you don't work in it. So I think from there, I started saying to myself, I have things that I want to share with people about following their dreams, especially for entrepreneurs, because I think that entrepreneurs are some of the biggest dreamers. And then if you bring in the aspect of investing and how do you combine those, I think it could be really powerful. And for me, it's always been with an emphasis in the atonement of Jesus Christ, because I believe that that's the key element that, like, a lot of other life coaches miss out on. They're not utilizing that principle. One, maybe it's just the clients that they're working with. Maybe they don't have a faith in Christ. Maybe they're too scared to bring that up. But I was like, hey, whatever. That's the kind of people I want to work with. I want to work with people who want to build a better relationship with Christ and utilize that to their advantage to leverage towards their dreams. And that's when I kind of put together the workshop. In the process of putting together the workshop, I put out an ad on Facebook for it.
Okay.
And immediately I had some really uncomfortable feelings come up. And I was like checking, like, every couple of minutes, hey, how many clicks is it getting? Is anyone signing up? Blah, blah, blah. It went on for about 3 days. I was just going kind of nuts looking at it, kind of living in a fear of, what's going to happen here. Is it not going to work out? And I realized I just kind of took a step back. One day my wife's like, you need to stop checking it.
You're getting obsessed.
Exactly. And I was like, I know you're right. But what is this trying to teach me? And so this was a huge obstacle for me, because I was like, do I be consistent and say, well, I already said I'm going to do this, so I need to follow through with it, right? But then I realized that I didn't need to.
Yeah.
And a part of that for me was through prayer. Heavenly Father kind of just helped me realize and just helped me like see that I wanted to build a platform first. I wanted to build my base. I wanted people to be able to hear what I'm talking about and then be able to decide, hey, is this something that I want to hear in a workshop? Right? Kind of that whole thing that I talked about before. Do I actually believe that Verle could share some things with me that would be highly beneficial and worth my time and my money to go and be at?
Right. Yeah, I like
because
that.
Originally I thought, hey, maybe I do it for free, but then I was like, no, it needs to be someone who's willing to invest in themselves, right? Because if they don't, they're not going to come their best self.
Right. Yeah. You got to have a little bit of pain of that money to really dive into it and be willing to hear it. There's a couple things I want to pull out of that real quick. I had a guy say something to me once, and it was very simple, and he didn't even think twice about it. But it kind of changed a lot of how I do things, because at some point, when you're trying to decide if you're going to do something, you have to make a move at some point, right? Like people will, paralysis by analysis or overthink it and never act. So at some point you do have to act. But he was telling me like what you were doing was stepping back. Don't put this workshop out there at 50 or 60%, because now you're given 60% to compare to. And so if you can back that up, push the date back and put 100% in, now you're getting compared to it 100%. And so he was like, don't do anything at 60% because people will compare you at 100%. And I was like, man, and he didn't even think anything of it. And I scratched it in my binder, and I circled it twice. And